Hi, Carrie Nygaard here. Today I'm going to talk about one of the fastest ways how to stop deprivation when you want to release weight off your body. This is important because if you're feeling deprived, then you're likely not going to eat in a way that's going to help your body release any fat or adipose tissue that you want off of your body. So two things we're going to talk about. First, though, I want you to know that I am the creator of Brain Management 101. This is my life coaching business where I teach women about their brains. I teach people about the basic things they need to know about their brains, the hard wiring of their brain that every human being has, and how to leverage that for our benefit. And when it comes to dieting, and when it comes to diet mentality that is so nuanced throughout our culture, what happens is that when that diet mentality comes into contact with our lower brain thinking, with this hardwired thinking, that is survival obsessed, it's primal thinking, it's base thinking, then it wreaks havoc in our lives. When we diet, it leads to feelings of deprivation. And when we feel deprived, we tend to binge, we tend to overeat, we tend to have obsessive food thoughts, we tend to over desire food, and it's exhaustive. So but if we're not going to diet, then how do we release weight off our body? I'm going to tell you two ways to do it without deprivation. The first one is that you need to eat enough. And by enough, I mean, stop doing these 1,200 calories or less a day. Stop over exercising and under eating. Eat enough. I have other videos that talk about listening to your hunger cues and how to know what enough is. The second thing is that I want you to think in context of when you're in diet mentality, you think in terms of like what I can and can't have, what's clean food and what's dirty food. What can I eat to be good? And what do I eat if I'm being bad? Okay, when you think in these black and white terms, it sets your brain up for its survival response to be flipped. This is a cross section above your brain. Our brain is very interconnected and related. However, I'm going to talk about it conceptually. Up here in your prefrontal cortex, this is the part of your brain that actually doesn't get fully developed till you're into your 20s. This is where your conscious thinking self is. This is where you make judgment calls, where you make choices. This part of your brain is constantly thinking of things like, what am I learning? What do I want to create? It's the part that I'm using right now as I talk to you. And it's also the part that you're using as you actively listen to me. However, down here in the lower parts of our brain, down here in the brainstem and in the limbic system and in the cerebellum, these are the lower parts of our brain. These parts of our brain are survival obsessed. This is conceptually, okay? And our brain is hardwired to survive. The problem, though, is that that part of our brain that's hardwired to survive does not have the ability to reason like our prefrontal cortex up there. And not only that, but this hardwiring survival response, it's not reasonable, and it's automatic, it's subconscious, it happens without us realizing it. And when you go onto a diet and when you think in these black and white terms, then you flip the survival response of that hardwiring, and that's why you have obsessive thoughts about food. That's why you're binging. That's why you're overeating. That's why you feel out of control with food. So, and that's where the deprivation comes in. So what do we do instead? We think in terms up here in our conscious thinking self in the prefrontal cortex, and we think, what do I want to create? Because when you're thinking in terms of cutting foods out and what I can't have, this gets us into a scarcity mindset. And anything that's scarce when it comes to food that's so basic for our survival is going to trip the survival response in our brain. So we want to get into this abundant mindset around food and make choices from a place of what do I want to create, not what do I need to cut out. So when you go to have a meal, I want you asking, what do I actually want? Not what does my lower brain tell me I want? Your lower brain's always going to say, eat the sugar, eat the heavy fats, eat the processed foods, because our brain is hardwired to survive. And those types of processed and sugary foods and is going to cause a dopamine response in our brain. So our lower brain, this hard wiring of our brain that every human being has, it's going to always want the food that's not going to leave us feeling good. But when you're up here in your conscious thinking self, when you're thinking this phrase, what do I want to create? Now you're in abundance. And now you're thinking, what do I want to create? There's no restriction involved there. And so when I go to have a meal, I think, what do I want to create? I want it to have something that I enjoy. I want to be satiated. I want to feel satisfied when I'm done. I want it to last a while so that I don't have to eat again in an hour or two. I want it to last 3, 4, or 5 hours. I also want it to be such that I feel good, not heavy, right? I don't want to feel bloated afterwards. I want to feel like it's fueled me for my day and not that I have to go sleep off the meal. So when I think, what do I want to eat? What do I want to create? And how can I eat to create feeling good? Then it's, oh, where's my protein? Where are my veggies? Where are my fats? Where are the carbs that are going to actually fuel me? And I just put it together really quick. I teach women specifically how to do this in my In Control with Food workshop. I'm going to run it next week. If you're listening to it, if you're listening to this replay this week, I'm having it next week, which is June 19th through the 21st. In the description of this video, I will put the registration link. In the In Control with Food workshop, I go more in depth to this. Also, I'm going to open the doors to my workshop. My workshop is free. If you're interested in my group program called Freedom with Body and Food that I run through my Brain Management 101 business, where we come at this from a place of love and of curiosity, and also leveraging the things we know about our brain to our advantage. The reason you feel out of control with food is not because there's something wrong with you. It's because you're human and have a human brain, and diet mentality has been fed to you. It's a perfect storm to create what you're experiencing. So just know that Freedom with Body and Food is a 12-week program that I have just for women to help unwire these old ways of patterns of thinking that do not give us the results that we want, which is to be at peace with food, to have a normal relationship with food, and to love our bodies, and to release weight because we prefer to have it off of us, not because we want to, not because we think we'll be more valuable if we do. So I teach how to do this from a brain science standpoint. I'm going to open the doors for that for the last time before fall, because I'm going to take summer off with my kids. So I'm going to open the doors from June 21st. We're going to start the program June 26th. But I'm going to open the doors from June 19th to June 26th for that week, from Monday through Monday. I'm going to open the doors for that 12-week program. I'll put the link for that also in these comments. Okay, moving on. So this is another concept that relates to this, is that if you want to feel like confident, if you want to feel happier with your body, if you want to feel at peace, if you want to feel the relief that comes by losing the weight, then we cannot create these positive high frequency type emotions from emotions of self-doubt, from shame, from hopelessness, self-loathing, fear. When you're in these low frequency emotions, fear, that's very lower brain survival function. And so if we want to create something where we're at freedom, where we're at peace with our body, ourselves, our mind, and food, we have to first operate from that place. And one way that you can really do this, there's lots of ways to do it, and tools and skills and techniques, but one really powerful way that I actually taught in my group call today was what I just shared with you, was to think, what do I want to create? Constantly, what do I actually truly want? Not what this lower brain's saying, but what I actually truly want, which is to feel good, to feel satiated, to enjoy it and have it last a while, and to feel good afterwards, before, during, and after. And then everything opens up. So what happens is that when you think, I can have this, I can't have this, can't have this, can't have this, then you flip that survival response. So instead, I want you to think of it in terms of like, you're going to the paint store, you're going to go pick out a paint, you're going to the home improvement store and you're picking out paint because you're going to say you're going to redo a room. You're going to look at all the paint on the wall. Wow, that can be an overwhelming experience because there's thousands of choices there. But here's the thing, None of the paints are bad. They're all just options. The question is, what do I want to create with that room? If you want to create a light, airy room, you're not going to pick a dark color. Dark colors aren't bad. They're just not helpful when you're redecorating a room or repainting a room and your objective is to have it be light and airy. You would pick a lighter shade to do that. If you wanted a more soothing, subdued type room, then you would likely pick a darker color for that. Okay. So none of the food is bad. None of the colors were bad, right? It's what do I want to create? And we focus in on that. When we focus in on what do I want to create, then we're up here in our conscious thinking self. There's no survival responses created in our brain, and there's no deprivation because we're getting what we actually want. So give that a try. Thanks so much. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Oh, don't forget to like and subscribe if you want more of these brain management tips around your brain and dieting.